What's up, y'all? It's your boy Niner Faithful. How's everybody doing? Hope everyone is having a legendary day and a legendary week. We're going to preview Niners Bills today. But before we get started with that, would like to remind everybody all of December, save 20% on all our non-affiliate products with the promo code faithful, and you can save 20% on everything at ninerfaithfulradio.com/shop. Let's go ahead, and I don't know if we call her a special guest now, but since I've already brought her on before, but let's crack it, Jaymie from Good Morning Niner Empire, the greatest morning show in the history of America.
How are
What's
you
up, love? How
doing?
you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Legendary. Legendary. So before we get started today, I thought it was pretty cool to find out that the Niners and Bills are 6-6 all time. So like this will decide who has bragging rights between a team that we've played a total of 12 times in 70 something years. But also Kyle Shanahan has announced that D Ford, Ronald Blair, and Weston, I don't know why I couldn't speak right now, Weston Richburg will be out the remainder of season. I know that you touched on that in Good Morning Niner Empire, Jaymie.
Yes.
Your thoughts?
So looks like D Ford has had his back injury, and you don't mess with back injuries; those are pretty serious. So I'm sad that he's not back, but I think it's better that he's not playing right now if it's that serious. And I just hope he gets better because those things suck. I've recently had experience with somebody in my life who's had back surgery and stuff, and it is not fun. So like I don't even know if it sounds pretty serious. So I don't even know how you could think about playing football right now.
Well,
hopefully he can come back though. I mean, it'd be awesome if he could.
Well, I know Matt Mayoko on KNBR had mentioned something of if he cannot pass a physical before April 1st, the Niners can't get out of his contract in 2021. I'll have to dig more into that to see. And I know that it's everybody always kind of has the foregone conclusion that, D Ford's gone. Well, it might not necessarily be the case. As far as Ronald Blair and Weston Richburg, I think that's a little bit of surprise. I know that all offseason we had pretty much heard, Weston Richburg is going to be back by training camp. He's going to be back by training camp. And here it is, going into week 13 of the NFL season, and, he's not going to be back. So I would dare to say interested about his contract.
It sounds like pretty bad setbacks with their surgeries and then and stuff. And Ronald Blair's is an ACL, I believe, so that's not good. We'll just have to see. Hopefully, maybe they can make comebacks next season. Just depends on how their off season goes. Hopefully this time off has helped them. But yeah, it sucks because we could really use both of them, I think, on the field right now. In a way.
Yeah, no, definitely missing both of them, especially Ronald Blair. I think Ronald Blair is a big, loss this season, and definitely could have used his depth. So getting. Also, I always like to note little things like this, but Josh Allen grew up a Niners fan, and I remember actually learning that when he came out of the draft. He's from the Central Valley.
Oh, okay.
And so grew up a Niners fan, and so I always thought that that's a little interesting tidbit when I think where my drive of becoming a professional football player, ended was when I realized I might not necessarily play for the Niners and I didn't want to play for anybody else. So, I think that's kind of where my aspiration ended. But So, getting in some real quick, what I would think basically are going to be the two biggest matchups of the game. You
Okay.
have the Niners O line versus their D line. And so, wait, before we get to that, I also found this little statistic. I thought this was weird. And since 1970, the NFL, AFL merger,
Mm-hmm.
there have been 5 teams that have been forced for whatever situations to play games in other stadiums that are not considered their own, and those
Oh.
teams are 1-4. So
Oh wow.
that's a little, I guess, a little ominous feeling. But to bring it to a
Interesting.
little bit more of a positive note, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the one team that won, if I'm not mistaken, was the Niners. I know that there
Okay.
was one game in 1989 that they had to play at Stanford Stadium due to
Mm-hmm.
the '89 earthquake,
Oh, okay.
and
That makes
so
sense.
I know that we had to play one game in Stanford Stadium because of that, and so that might be very well the one time that we won, or the one team that I won. But yeah, getting into the matchup of Niners offense versus their defense, I think this is, I mean, it's a, as far as I'm concerned, it seems like a very fair matchup. I mean, they allow, we're 16th in yards, rushing, but we all know
Mm-hmm.
that's been without Raheem.
Right.
Uh, they allow 129.6, which is 25th.
Uh-huh.
So we all know that they've improved in that over the last couple games. Um,
Yep.
Passing yards per game were 12th at 250.9, and Buffalo allows 243 for point and a half for 18th. And then yards per game is 362.9, which is ranked 14th, and Buffalo is 373.1, which is 22nd. So I mean, I think that the one ominous thing, and we'll go
Uh-huh.
ahead and get more into details
Okay.
of this, is their D line.
Yeah.
Um, Buffalo's D line is definitely, it's an issue. We all know that the Niners give up the 11th most sacks in the NFL at 27th,
Yeah.
and the I have it written down right here somewhere. The 20, I believe it's 22nd, and pressure rate allowed.
Oh wow.
So if you and I know Buffalo is second in PFF pass rush rate, or pass rushing grade.
Oh, so they're up
And
there.
so I think that Trent Williams and the boys are gonna have their hands full this week.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about their D line because I honestly don't know much about Buffalo's D line.
Neither
So
do I.
that's very interesting. Because I really haven't heard, because I follow a lot of people on Twitter who are just general football people, and I haven't heard much about their D line in general. But that's very interesting. So yeah, it sounds like the O line's gonna have their hands full.
Well, yeah, I think that you know it's look. I mean, Nick Mullins. It's clear he can't handle pressure,
Mm-mm.
and so you know keeping him in a clean pocket is
It's
going to
gonna
be
be
essential.
super
Now, you could say
important.
the easiest way to do that is run the ball. I
Yeah.
mean, I personally think that that's the easiest situation to be in, is to run the football,
Yeah.
and that negates the best way to negate a pass rush. But as we found out, and they're 22nd allowed in rushing yards per game at 25th.
Oh, okay.
So I think that that's going to definitely be a key. Now, getting into the second matchup, which
Mm-hmm.
which I think is pretty big this week, is going to be their passing offense versus our passing defense. I mean, the Niners are fourth in passing yards allowed, giving up only 206.5 yards. They're seventh in the league at 268 and .1
Mm-hmm.
yards per game, passing yards per game. I mean, Josh Allen, as we all know, is a mobile quarterback, and I mean, at 6'6". I believe he's something like 240. That's a big boy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, as I say, a lot, you got to put up, hey, baby, how you doing? Kim has joined us. Everybody say hello to Kim. I think that it's definitely a game that you got to put on your big boy pads for. We're going to go ahead and get into our keys to victory. Stop the turnovers. I think that, we all know the age-old saying by Vince Lombardi that he's a white Cam Newton. Jason, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there's something to be said for that. I definitely think that there's something to be said that I don't expect him to go break, 85 yards like Cap,
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. But, getting outside the pocket, extending the plays, making plays off schedule. I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're the fourth best, pass defense according to, when it comes to, yards per game, but you can only cover for so long.
Yeah.
And so, I think so. Stopping the turnovers, number one key to victory. In our 5 wins, +6 in turnover differential. In our 6 losses, we're -10.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of goes without saying there.
Mm-hmm.
Key number 2, foot on the gas. Buffalo has blown or allowed a lead of 2 scores or more to dissipate 7 times this year. Now they're 6-1 of those games, with the one loss being what is now being dubbed the Hail Murray. I don't
Okay.
really
Yeah.
like that, but it is, it's a game that even if you get down by a score,
Mm-hmm.
I think you definitely got to keep your foot on the gas.
Oh yeah.
Um,
I
I
mean,
have
their
said,
weapons are. They have some good weapons on offense. They have Stephon Diggs and stuff.
yeah,
So like they have a little bit of a team. So it's going to be an interesting matchup. This is when the
def-
schedule was released. Was one I was looking forward to seeing, just in general, um, and just seeing how the Niners match up against them. So.
yeah. Well, because I mean, let's be realistic. They're going to be a playoff team.
Hmm.
And yeah, we obviously know the favorite out of the AFC. You might get to a couple teams. You would definitely get to the Chiefs and the Steelers. I think to
Yeah.
be favorites to represent the AFC out. For the Super Bowl. You might get to maybe a few other teams before you get to Buffalo, but they're legit. You get into the playoffs, and I mean, look, who expected Tennessee to
Yeah.
be in the AFC Championship game last year. In 2017, who expected Jacksonville to
Yep.
not only be in the AFC Championship game, but also to hang with New England the way that they did? And so, fluke things happen in the playoffs all the time. And with COVID, you're one Patrick Mahomes getting COVID, day before the game, away from, the playoff picture completely changing in the
That's true.
NFL.
That's very true.
And I think even with the Niners, oh yeah, well, could they really compete with all the teams in the elite? Hey, we saw that they were a Drew Brees injury away and a better throwing ball to Kendrick Bourne away from beating the Saints. And so fluke things happen all the time.
Yep.
And so an interesting way and third key of the game, and we'll leave it at this
Okay.
as far as keys to victory go, and I'll save the rest for the pregame on Sunday. But all over him like a wet blanket. Jared Goff had 37 dropbacks, was pressured on only 9 times. So out of 28 snaps without pressure, Jared Goff's rating was in the 40s. I
Wow.
think that we'll go into a little bit more detail on the pregame show of this, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's pretty obvious that that's a coverage set. I think that Adam and I had posed a question a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if it was the review show or the preview show, where we said that obviously, clearly, the identity of the team last year was our pass rush, and that
Mm-hmm.
this year, if we were going to compete for a playoff team, the identity had to be our coverage and our secondary. And I
Yeah.
think that why you're seeing the Niners now being able to be in a position where, hey, we're at least talking about playoff possibilities in December is
Mm-hmm.
because of our secondary, and the secondary has stepped up.
Yep. Yeah. You're right. I
And
mean,
so, go ahead.
with all of our injuries on the D line and like not having Bosa, not having D Ford, like our pass rush has not been the same like it was last year where it was so dominant. Um, so and our secondary this year because of that has actually stepped up. Jason Verrett has gotten healthy, has balled out. Sherman's come back now and is playing pretty good, and Jimmy Ward has had a really really good game last week.
Solid two
So
games.
last few games, yeah. So our secondary has really stepped up, and it's yeah, they're definitely stepping up when their pass rush like they was last season is not there. So
Yeah, and so I think that going forward, that's the way it's going to have to be. And I think that lo and behold, it's allowing when you're having the maturation. I'm
mm-hmm,
not going to say he's fully there. Obviously, I hope not. But you have Javon Kinlaw playing better,
mm-hmm,
and Kerry Hyder, of course, having an amazing season.
mm-hmm.
And so we don't need them to be game wreckers. We just need the D line to not make the secondary cover for 8 million seconds.
Yeah,
If you can get to the affect the quarterback and make him throw it away, or throw up a affect the pass within 2-3 seconds, I trust the secondary to be able to cover that long. And
yeah,
and we are all sad to know what happened with Jamal Taylor, but I think if you get in a position where you can have Sherman, Verrett, and Mosley with not Jaquaski Tar, Travarius Moore and Jimmy Ward, I honestly think that, truthfully, if you ask majority of Niner fans, I think they would all agree that that's our best secondary.
yeah,
And so to have that we have available now, obviously you would love K1 in the slot over Mosley, but as who could suit up available Sunday. Another little tidbit that came out
mm-hmm,
of and we'll add this to Good Morning Niner Empire. I'll get the timestamps for you and everything like that. Sorry
okay,
about that, y'all. Just a little bit of housekeeping. But Kyle Shanahan said he expects a Killer Witherspoon to be up this week with the injury to Jamar Taylor.
oh,
And Mark DeZocha's practice window has been opened. And I know a lot of people scoff at special teams, but I think that what you're seeing is it affects. And Kyle Shanahan has talked about it a lot this year. Is you think that, oh, well, it's our second stringer, it's not a big deal. Well, that affects other places otherwise. And Mark DeZocha, we all know, is a special teams ace. Well, you know who had to take his place now that he's been out of is Dre Greenlaw. And so now
mm-hmm.
Dre Greenlaw is having to take additional snaps on special teams, according also with the snaps that he's having to take on defense. And so, you've seen him, miss practices and even miss games with tight hamstrings and tight quads. Well, no wonder. He's playing the
Yeah,
double the snaps. And
yep,
so that's it. Now that you say, okay, Mark DeZocha could possibly be back, I would think more next week than this week. But still, okay, now Dre Greenlaw has to play less snaps on special teams, which will keep him fresher and, of course, leave less chance to injury.
yep,
I think one of the keys is not being talked about uh, going forward, with this playoff pushes, we have to remain healthy. We cannot have these games where it's like, oh, well, we got 2 players back, but we lost one.
yeah,
Oh, we got 3 players back, but we lost 2. And so you're not getting really, or even, hey, we got 2 players back, but we lost 3. And so no,
yeah,
we all season we have said, hey, wait till this team gets healthy, wait till this team gets healthy, wait till this team gets healthy. And now that we're getting to that point, if this team wants to make a serious push towards the playoffs, we need to remain it that way. We can't gain Richard Sherman but lose K1.
Yeah.
We can't, gain Brandon Ayuk but lose Debo.
Yeah.
We can't get Raheem Mostert back but lose, Jeff Wilson. These things can't keep on happening.
Nope. I agree. Injuries have really been it's really hit us hard this year. I feel like more so than the last few years, and I feel like I say that every year. So
yeah,
right. But I
right.
agree. We just need to really get healthy.
All right, everybody. Well, we're going to go ahead and end it here. We'd like to again remind everybody to check out a holiday sale at 9faithfulradio.com/shop. Make sure to check out Jaymie every morning. It was Tuesday through Saturday for Good Morning Niner Empire, available at 5 a.m. in the morning. Yes, we get up bright and early. Not really. We recorded the night before. Let's be real. Nobody's recording a podcast at 5 a.m. But also, Jaymie, go ahead and tell the people where they can find you on Twitter.
I'm at Twitter at 49ersFan94. That's where you can find me.
All right, sorry about that. We dropped out for a second, y'all. But we're going to go ahead and end the show here. Make sure to tune in on Sunday for Niner Faithful Radio's pregame, halftime show, and postgame show, available on Facebook. Till then, faith, love, and happiness. Go Niners.